Hey y'all, in this video, we are not going to be looking at something specific to IAs and finals, like the IAs finals dashboard that the first video was about, or the IAs finals standards analysis, which was our second video. Instead, we're going to be looking at our grades distribution report. And we started to look at this a little bit last year through the lens of equity in our grading practices. And we had some really robust discussions as a staff, as a whole staff, as a high school staff, as a middle school staff, around how to best use this data. Because at the end of the day, that's why we look at data. It's to be able to use it to make decisions, to make sure that our teaching practices are as strong as they can be, and that our leadership styles and our leadership practices are as effective as they can be, and that our students are really learning at the highest level possible. So what we are going to look at here, we're on the 2020-2021 reports page. And if you scroll down to our grades dashboard, that's where you're going to click into. So to access this, click into grades dashboard. There's a ton of reports in here, and I think a lot of them do have a lot of value. The one that we're going to spend time looking at is our grades distribution. Okay, so we're looking at grades distribution. All right. The first thing, you're going to want to make sure that you select our school. Okay, so we'll select Byers Middle School. Then we're going to want to go ahead and make sure that term code is try 1. It's the only option as of right now. You could select grade level. We'll just keep it at all for now. You could select course name. We'll just keep that at all for now. You could leave this as is, in progress. Teacher grouping, we could say yes. We could also say no. For this purpose, we are just going to say no. But when we're looking at this not on a video, we should say yes. And lastly, for grouping, there's tons of options. And this is honestly the most useful part of this. And this is where we're going to spend most of our time in this report. So we'll get there in just a sec. Quick key recap here. Anywhere you see blue, that's percentage, and then you can also see the actual number where it says N. Percentage and number of grades that are A is blue. Green are your Bs. Yellowish orange here are your Cs. Maybe that's just orange. And then your red represents the number and percentage of Fs in each of these classes. So first, when you populate this, you're just going to be able to see overall. Okay, so overall percentages of Fs, Cs, Bs, and As. While helpful, that's maybe not the most useful thing for us here. What we really want to look at is how does this break out across various identity markers for students on our campus. So let's start with ethnicity. Okay, so if we're looking at ethnicity, okay, we're going to be able to see Asian students, Black students, Hispanic students, students who are multiple races, and then white students. And you'll be able to see breakdown of grades for each race demographic in your class. This is going to be really useful because this is going to be able to show us if there are any students, specifically students of color in this first report, that are failing your class at a rate disproportionate to their representation in your class. Okay, so this is what we want to look for here. And that is the first indicator that we could look at, ethnicity. So tons of really useful data in this report that could drive a lot of our next steps as we move into Try 2. Next up, we could look at our population of students that have a disability. You can go through and you'll see SWD, student with disability, or no, which means this is a student without a disability. And you could also see here what that looks like. So you could scroll through and start to see if there's any discrepancies that stand out to you. in your class specifically, and then click in and be able to start to think about, okay, which students are these different color bars representing here. Next, we could look at our multi-language learners. Okay, so we have LEP, Limited English Proficient, and then NEP, Not English Proficient, Non-English Proficient. We also have no designation, which means the student does not qualify or identify as a multi-language learner. Okay, and you could see this breakdown as well across your class. Again, when you're looking at this, I recommend that you select just your class or classes here. So it's not as overwhelming in looking at all the data at once. Okay, so we've looked at ethnicity, we've looked at students with disabilities, we've looked at our multi-language learner population breakdown. What we could also do here is look at performance bands. Okay, to identify which performance bands are having the most success, which performance bands are having the least success, and be able to start to target students. I think what's really useful about this is that it does tell us here how many students are in each of these different spaces. The unfortunate part here is that it does not spit out the names of the students, so we do need to do a little bit of digging there. But we will be able to, through some other reports that we have in Polaris, and your coach could help you with that. If you go to our performance band report, you'll be able to see which students these numbers are referring to. So that is really it for this report. This is super useful. Again, this does not coincide specifically with IAs and finals. This is looking more higher level as we start to think about changes that we may need to make for our upcoming trimester, and how we are ensuring that we're serving all of our students equitably and giving students exactly what they need to succeed. If you have questions about this, reach out to your coach. Thanks so much.